all-consuming, unstoppable force that can turn up just about anywhere it likes with little reason or context needed. A lot like the Flux in Series 13, except, without the structure of the universe being torn to shreds. Other movies and TV shows, stage plays, novels, comic books, random TV adverts, and bizarre unofficial spin-offs. If it can be watched, read, played, or otherwise viewed with eyeballs, it's likely Doctor Who has been in it at some point. With that in mind then, I'm Ellie with Who Culture, here with 10 times Doctor Who appeared where you'd least expect. Number 10. In a Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic book. Doctor Who and comic books have a long and strange history, with the franchise jumping between numerous publishers from the 1960s to the present day. And this means that the Doctor and friends have crossed paths with some truly legendary comic book characters. But none of these crossovers was as unexpected or completely and utterly random as the time when the Doctor jumped into the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe. A single panel in the 2007 Buffy comic No Future for You features two rather curious characters stood in front of a red telephone box. Though these characters aren't named, it's clear that they're supposed to be the 10th Doctor and Rose, with the red phone booth serving as a copyright-safe nod to the Doctor's iconic blue TARDIS. So what kind of crazy adventure are they on? Hunting the great vampires? Hunting the fish vampires? Well, considering this is the only single panel we have, we don't actually know. But if you are a fan of both franchises, it's still pretty cool to see. Number 9. As Birdseye's mascot on a packet of fish fingers. For better or worse, Doctor Who's Series 5 opener introduced fish fingers and custard to the world, with the recently regenerated 11th Doctor trying a bunch of different foods to give his new taste buds a trial run. This unusual dish proved such a hit with fans that it even spawned a National Fish Finger and Custard Day on the 3rd of April, the day the episode originally aired. And yes, there are even people out there who've admitted to trying it for themselves. This episode also permanently associated the 11th Doctor with fish fingers. But even so, nobody could have predicted that this would one day end up with him being an official brand ambassador for the product. In 2013, Birdseye created a bespoke packet of fish fingers replacing Captain Birdseye with the 11th Doctor. This packet was then exclusively gifted to Matt Smith along with a 12-month supply of fish fingers. Now, apparently Smith actually doesn't mind the taste of fish fingers and custard, so I'm gonna guess he probably ate quite a lot of it that year. Number 8. In a crossover with Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock. For the duration of the Stephen Moffat era, there were regular requests for him to do a crossover between Doctor Who and Sherlock, two massive shows that he was in charge of between 2010 and 2017. Now, Moffat was asked about this on a yearly basis, and his responses ranged from "I'm fine with it" to "it's not going to happen." And as you'd expect, his flip-flopping around the topic didn't really put the matter to bed. And so it was a welcome surprise when a super talented Doctor Who fan took matters into his own hands. A few weeks before the 11th Doctor's regeneration in 2013, Ben Pickles, or as most fans will know him as John Smith VFX, uploaded a video called Wholock to his YouTube channel, which saw the 11th Doctor meet Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock through the magic of visual effects and clever editing. Though obviously not as polished or as long as fans would have wanted from an official crossover, it did scratch that itch, and its popularity helped Pickles get a job on Doctor Who as a visual effects artist. Among a host of other contributions, he created the trippy Series 11 title sequence in 2018. And he did a smashing job, we must say. Number 7. In a series of unusual stage plays. The enormous scale of Doctor Who doesn't seem best suited for the stage, but considering that everything from Harry Potter to Back to the Future is being turned into a stage play, clearly scale isn't really an issue. Even so, newer or younger Doctor Who fans might be surprised to learn that it was indeed translated to the stage on more than one occasion. The earliest instance dates back to December 1965 with The Curse of the Daleks, which had a 1-month-long run in London during the peak of Dalek mania. This was then followed by Doctor Who and the Daleks in the 7 Keys to Doomsday in 1974, Recall Unit The Great Teabag Mystery, which is the most British title ever, in 1984, and then The Ultimate Adventure in 1989. And of course, we do currently have Doctor Who Time Fracture, which is an immersive experience in London and is amazing, and you should go if you can. And many of these starred actual cast members from the show, with The Great Teabag Mystery featuring the voice of Nicholas Courtney as the Brigadier, and The Ultimate Adventure starring John Pertwee and Colin Baker as the Doctor, depending on which night you visited. Sadly, footage of these plays is either non-existent, really hard to track down, or looks like it was filmed on a potato. But on the plus side, there are various audio adaptations for those curious fans, thanks to Big Finish. Number 6. In an advert for smoking products. Along with the TARDIS and the Doctor themselves, the Daleks are up there as one of the most iconic elements of the show, and so it does make sense that certain companies would want to license them for use in their advertising campaigns. But even so, the sight of a Dalek whipping out a packet of cigars, lighting one with its laser and proceeding to smoke the damn thing definitely isn't something you'd expect to see outside of a bizarre fever dream. And yet here we are. This truly bonkers TV ad was created by Hamlet to market its cigars, but ultimately it was exterminated and it never made it to air. Now, although the Daleks are evil little gits, one does have to question the logic behind associating a family show with an adult product in the first place. Number 5. In the Sarah Silverman programme. Now, we've covered Doctor Who's many other TV show appearances before, but here's a rather bizarre and unexpected one that we never got round to mentioning. In a 2008 episode of the largely forgotten comedy show The Sarah Silverman Programme, nerdy character Brian buys a DVD box set of a sci-fi show called Dr. Laser Rage, vowing to watch it a ridiculous amount of times in order to get the maximum value for his money. Why is this noteworthy? Well, Dr. Laser Rage is a clear homage to Doctor Who, with plenty of corridors, low-budget effects, and even Ninth Doctor Christopher Eccleston playing the title role, firing off his blaster and delivering overly dramatic speeches. What made this cameo so surprising is that it came not too long after Christopher Eccleston's departure from Doctor Who under rather controversial circumstances. Now, it's no secret that he wasn't best thrilled with his time on the show, and the fact then that he references his days on Doctor Who so directly is kind of strange to see. Number 4. In a story where 10 meets the Binks clan. Now, like Tesselector 11 showing up on that beach instead of the real thing, we're going to cheat a little bit with this entry because it is an official Doctor Who story, a novel published by BBC Books in 2007. Instead, the unexpected element comes from a weird, highly unlikely scenario the 10th Doctor finds himself in. Forever Autumn follows Ten and Martha as they grapple with some strange occurrences in an unassuming English town. They do their thing and save the day, no surprises there, defeating an ancient species called the Havocan in the process. But it's a random aside towards the end of the novel that lands Forever Autumn on this list, with the Doctor telling Martha about the time he met the Binks clan, as in Jar Jar Binks, the not-so-beloved bumbling alien introduced in the Star Wars prequels. They're good people, very hospitable, the Doctor says, before mentioning that Jar Jar Binks sent a telepathic message to George Lucas which prompted him to include him in The Phantom Menace. So basically, in the Doctor Who universe, Jar Jar Binks is real and the Doctor's met him. If ever there was an off-screen moment that we desperately wanted to see, it's this one. Number 3. On its own island in Fortnite. With every entertainment franchise making its way over to Fortnite in the last few years, you could say it was only a matter of time before Doctor Who made the leap as well. But then again, the show is nowhere near as popular as some of the other Fortnite crossover IP like Star Wars, Marvel and DC. And yet, if you download the game on your platform of choice and enter a specific island code, you'll soon be interacting with the TARDIS, the Weeping Angels, and the Kablam Man, along with everyone's favourite villain, the Pating. It's not as meaty as some of Fortnite's other crossovers, but it's still fun nonetheless. And considering that the game is free, there's no harm in giving it a go. Just watch out for any 10-year-olds screaming at you down their mic. Number 2, in an unofficial Zygon softcore film. A project you can definitely file under what the hell and why did somebody make that? Zygon, when being yourself just isn't enough, holds the noteworthy record of being, as one reviewer put it, the only Zygon-based soft porn film to have ever been made. Made in 2008 by the independent company BBV Productions, Zygon is an unofficial Doctor Who spin-off in which those famous baddies titillate plenty of fronds while in human form. Intended to be viewed as a serious drama as opposed to the pure cheese that it actually came across as, the film thankfully doesn't get too graphic with its sexual content. But let's just say it's rated 18 for a reason. In retrospect, director Bill Baggs described the project as a mistake, and the Zygons made their proper Doctor Who return in 2013's The Day of the Doctor. Number 1, alongside Death's Head in the Marvel Comics multiverse. Ending on a much less disturbing note here, the idea of Doctor Who appearing in a mainline Marvel comic is just crazy. But we're not too far removed from a time where not only did it seem possible, but it actually happened. From the late 70s to the late 90s, Doctor Who magazine was published by the UK arm of Marvel Comics, which gave the publishers license to use the Doctor and other elements like the TARDIS in their own comic book stories. Cue the 1988 run for the Marvel character Death's Head, which featured an issue which saw the robo-assassin hired to kill the 7th Doctor. In the end, the two end up working together and the Doctor delivers a speech imploring Death's Head to change his villainous ways, to which he essentially tells the Doctor to bugger off. Disappointed, the Doctor then leaves, but not before the final panel shows that the TARDIS was parked on top of the Fantastic Four's headquarters. Again, given how popular Marvel has become in recent years, the idea of Doctor Who mingling with these characters just seems completely outlandish. But with that final panel in mind, the Doctor is out there somewhere in the Marvel Comics multiverse, so who knows what the future might hold. And that concludes our list. If you can think of anything that we missed, then do let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there at Who Culture. And I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with Who Culture, and in the words of River Song herself, goodbye, sweeties.